There's not a soul where I'm at right now. I'm at a laundromat in Arizona, 24-hour laundromat, which is actually pretty rare in this state considering the homeless population. I am real shocked that one of these exists. Anyhow, welcome to As Jim Sees It. I'm your illustrious host, Chris Malillo. Look at the hobo living in the car. But he works. But he still lives in his car. So, it's actually a van, not a car. Anyhow, I'm going to give you some realities for people who want to do the van life or the transit life or the on the road life. So there is a bunch of different scenarios to start. Scenario one, you buy one that's pre-built and already used. Sure, it saves you the work. You're excited. Your belly's flipping. You're nervous. You're ready to go. But why did they sell it? Was there problems with the van? Was the build a constant upkeep because the vehicle is rattling, and vehicles that are not already built as a motorhome are not designed to be lived in. Therefore, anything the person put up, nails, electrical work, could have started a fire, any of that stuff. Scenario ad infinitum. Maybe they had an insect infestation. Whatever. Why did they sell the vehicle? Ask yourself that. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Say, hey man, what is the reason that you got rid of this? Hannah Hayward, hello! Hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. If you're not, welcome back. Thank you for watching. So we'll get back to the ideas. If you're thinking about doing the van life, ask questions. Ask, has this vehicle been in any accidents? Marathon official vlog! Woo! Hello! Ask if the vehicle has been in any accidents if you're doing the van life. Ask, and this is prior on to those who were watching, ask questions about the people that are selling you their vehicle and get into why they left the van life, because it could be something with the vehicle. Maybe they're sick of it. Maybe they realized how much you have to do. Maybe they didn't save enough money and they had to get off the road. Find out why exactly. And everybody, hit subscribe. Another reason you want to ask questions is because you don't want to get a lemon. There's a guy I know, he's a friend of mine here in Arizona that I met who does the van life, who got a brand new Mercedes converted van. It was like one of those big Transit Connects, right? Since he bought it, he has had 50 different things go wrong that were screw ups with the actual build. And it wasn't like somebody built it. It came out of the factory pre-built, and he's running into all these issues. He knows the CEO of the company by a first name basis because he's had to constantly call. So make sure if you do the van life that you are not getting a lemon. And if you, well, that'll bring me to my next point. Buy a brand new vehicle if you're going to do it. I mean that. If not brand new, 20,000 miles max. You want a warranty, not a dealer warranty where after 5,000 miles it's scratched. You want a level 2 or level 3 warranty. If you want to worry about the outside getting dinged or getting scratched, blah, 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 then you get the level 1 warranty, or speakers or something electrical in the vehicle. Actually, electrical comes with warranty too. Make sure you have a warranty on that vehicle. Hello, Rayhan! Make sure you have a warranty on that vehicle, because if you get a lemon, you're screwed. There's lemon laws, but if you're on the road living, how are you going to deal with lemon laws with a broke down vehicle? So get a vehicle that has a warranty. Drive that thing around for about 2 to 3 months before you ever hit the road. That way, if maybe there was an unseen problem in the vehicle or something going wrong with the vehicle, you can get it taken care of before you get, thank you for the subscription, woo! Before you get on the road. Because the last thing you want to do is get on the road and be stuck and be in trouble. Which again, if you got the warranty, it'll cover you. Quick story of why I'm grateful that happened to me before I actually hit the road. I had 2 engine problems where the sensors were bad in 2 different places. And it was at 2 separate times. Thank you for the like. Woo! Woo! The world and the cosmos. So, the second time, even though I was covered under the warranty from the dealer where I bought a warranty for 70,000 miles, the dealer and the manager refused to return my phone calls. Luckily, my warranty was from a Ford dealership, so I took it to a Ford dealership in Brunswick, Ohio. They knew about the problem that I went through. They inspected everything that was wrong with the vehicle. They fixed the vehicle, and they did the inspection for free. Now, normally when they run a vehicle through that's going to be on warranty, it's going to run you $140 to $250. I was very lucky. The guys were like, hey, we know you kind of got the crap end of the stick, so we're going to hook you up. And the manager hooked me up. And a $700 fix that a dealership in Ohio would not give me the money. I apologize, would not take the vehicle in and fix it, even though I bought the warranty. So thank God that happened before I got on the road, because who knows what I would have ran into. Number 3, when you do your build, think of it economically as possible. And when I say economically, I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about, think of the vehicle's weight, because the more weight you put in the vehicle, the higher the chances that you're going to run into issues that are mechanical. So, again, there are certain things that you want to have down. Warranty, AAA, or insurance that covers if you break down. Obviously, you got to have insurance if you got a newer vehicle, but 100% go with the newer vehicle. Do your build. Search the internet like crazy for all different ways people have done their builds. Know that I don't want to say there's a wrong way to do a build, but there's always an efficient way to do a build. If you go check out my channel, I did a very simple build for people to have the least amount of weight, the most protection from the elements. So that means you want to put a lot of insulation in the vehicle, but use the foam insulation and use speaker insulation. You don't have to buy that liquid insulation. People have done that where it's like a foam and it fills up behind the walls. They use 2x4s for walls. A big thing about using 2x4s for walls is you're going to get mold spores if you don't make sure it's treated. So buy treated wood. Also, use 1-inch by 1-inch pieces of treated wood for your framing. You don't have to frame to code inside of a vehicle. You can use any size pieces of wood that you want, but make sure when you do it, you 100% use treated wood, because again, if you go from one state that's cold to the next state that's hot, to the next state that's muggy, to the next state that's gray and cool, but not, showing a lot of sun, like that flux of temperature, it makes your wood move, and it also starts mold spores. So you want to use treated wood. 100% use treated wood. Don't use flat flooring like tile or Formica or hardwood, any of that stuff, because when you're driving, if you hit a bump, it doesn't matter, you're going to hit them. Try to avoid them as much as possible, because the last thing you need is an accident. Even a little bump can throw you way off. But when you hit a bump, it shifts the vehicle and the flooring will expand and it'll move around. And then you're just going to be pissed and looking at these ugly open flooring all the time. That's just going to progressively get worse after it clicks together. Now, yeah, people say, well, what if you glue it down? Yeah, okay. Well, when you sell the vehicle or you bring it back to dealership, whatever your plan is, you've got to take that flooring up. And if you don't take the flooring up, you've got to, okay, it's not your problem. I get it. However, there are certain things, if you do to a vehicle, it cancels out the warranty. So you want to be as minimal as possible. So again, indoor outdoor carpet is the way to go. Sometimes they have this special backing that you can use double-sided tape. Now, as a carpet installer, I was like, that's a terrible idea. You should just put some tackless down over the rubber and then install the carpet, put the pad down, put the carpet down. It's real easy. For paneling, there's different panelings you can use, but again, light. Weight is more. You don't want a lot of that weight. So you can use things like, let's see. Hello, Ilya Yerbensky. You can use different things. You can use, like what I used was cedar. I used the cedar planks that are this big that you can use for a closet. The reason I chose cedar is because it keeps a majority of insects out of your vehicle. You don't want that. Things you got to think about when you're traveling. If you go to a state where you're not used to where you're traveling, you could have snakes, scorpions, black widow spiders. You could have other poisonous insects. You could have, I think they're called chiggers from Tennessee, where if those things, well, thank you, you're cool too. So if you get those things in your vehicle, they burrow under your skin and they like stay under there and feed off your skin. Those can get into your vehicle. You know what I mean? You want to do things that think and react. I don't even know why I'm saying this, because it's like live feeds are tough. You don't want to sound like an idiot, but at the same time, you don't want to overshoot the mark, But if you're doing the van life, you got to think of the elements. You got to think of the nature surrounding you. So that brings you, that brings me to, the next, number 4. You're driving in areas that you don't know. Your tires. You got to make sure that you have the right type of tires for off-terrain driving. If you just get a van and then go drive on a road and then it rains all night, right? Rains all night. And when you wake up and you go to drive down that same road and the mud is so thick, and this has happened to me, that you have to, it happened to me in a bus. You have to call a tow truck. You better hope that that tow truck can get there, and you better hope that that tow can handle a bus. Luckily mine was a shuttle bus, so it wasn't a huge tow, but you want to make sure that you absolutely are aware of the terrain. So you want to get the right tires. I recommend anywhere you're going to park, you want to hike there first. You want to know the area. I don't recommend going in areas where there's no light. If you want to be adventurous, cool, go about it. But again, what if you're in an area where there's a big homeless population and they see you camping by yourself? And a lot of people probably think, they're homeless. People that are in desperate situations do desperate things to get what they want. So, I mean, there's, and I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm just trying to make you aware that there are certain facts to the van life you've got to be aware of. So what are your options? Okay. You want to be adventurous? Cool. Do it. Do it during the day. Do it where there's people, where there's light. Make sure to have protection, whether it be a knife, a gun, whatever you got to have to keep yourself safe. Because again, it might not even be humans you have to worry about when you're out adventuring. It might be animals. It could be bear. It could be, again, rattlesnakes. You want to have a spread shot in your gun. There's all kinds of elements that you are 150,000% going to run into when you're doing the van life that you're not normally going to think of. And the only way you're going to learn that, obviously, is by doing it or, subscribing to the channel. Hello, my friend. Nobody. I love it. Love the name. Subscribing to the channel, check out some of the things down below in the how-to videos and some of the other live up feeds that you can experience while doing the van life in Australia. Well, if you're doing the van life in Australia, brother, you're a boss, because I know thank you for the subscription. Woo! If you're in Australia, there's spiders that are the size of my hand, and you definitely, if you're going to be there, develop your screen is free to like and subscribe. Help the algorithm. Well, hello, everyone. Step it up in the here. Oh, yeah. Thanks, man. Heck yeah. That's great. Subscribe. Yes. Anyhow, now, I obviously want to get double likes on the algorithms. That's why I create tons of content, poetry on our community channel, humor on this channel as Jim sees it, and then the how-to uploads, and then how to do the van life, which a lot of times is going to be live feeds, because the how-to stuff that's super instructional is very stressful. So I'll rip out some of these feeds and things of that nature. That's good that it doesn't bother you, but they scare me. Anyhow, so we were on number 4. When you're dealing with the elements, you are not in control. The elements are in control. So go with the elements and think in terms that they are always stronger, especially water. I like you as well. You're cool as well. Number 5. People they go on the internet, and I'm not knocking anybody again. I want to say I'm not knocking people. But it's so easy to get caught up in the vision of like, oh, I want to do the van life and I'll be free. There's no free in the van life unless you are a multimillionaire that has a bunch of money in the bank, and all you have to do is live off the interest, and you've bought property and you live off the property, and you've got a bunch of people handling that. That's the only freedom you're going to have in the van life. You got to pay for gas. So where are you going to get that money? You don't want to, if you want to beg, go ahead. I'm not begging. You got to work. If you're landlocked where you're staying in one place for a couple of months, you got to work. Some of the options: go get a gas station job, go to a hiring service that offers jobs throughout the city. Here's the big thing. If you can get a job, or you're doing a job remotely from the internet, that's the best route to go, in my opinion. Everybody I've talked to that seems like they get to kind of do what they want all the time in the quote unquote free life of the van life or the travel life. Hello. You want to make sure, hello to you, Yabanensky. You want to make sure that when you go remote, you're working remotely. So if you can get a job doing stuff on the computer, that's probably the most efficient way. I've done the bus life and worked at a landscaping company and stayed in that city, showered at a Planet Fitness every day. I've done the van life. Let me take a couple steps back. I went to Florida. I worked for the city of Florida and was living the bus life. I stayed in a community center when I was there, went to work every day, but still had to pay money for the community center. But the bus was paid off, but it was still like I was breaking even all the time. So it was kind of like living in an apartment and not doing anything but working. So, but it afforded me the luxury to be able to go to Florida. So that was a great experience. Now, this time I got a Transit Connect and I went on the road. I was planning on going to Arizona just for a little bit. I ended up staying here for 5 months, to where I got a job at a transportation company where I drive people to and from the airport. Now I got transferred, so I'm going back to Florida. So I'm going to be on the road for a little bit. We'll do a lot of live feeds from there. We'll show different, landscapes, different areas, go on some adventures. Clearly when I go on the adventures, I'm going to have everything as planned out as possible, and probably everything will still go wrong. The way it seems to do, and then you got to problem solve. That's like the common theme of life, it seems like. Hello, Justice Jane. That's a great name. How is your day? Anyhow, I'll be doing that, and then I'll be landlocked again to where I can pay off this van in half a year, pay off my college loans, half of them in a year, and my debt will essentially be eliminated in 2 years, which is one of the main reasons I chose to come back to the van life, is make some sacrifice, put all my money towards my bills and all my debt. That way I don't have to worry anymore about debt like I did before. Now, obviously there's good debt and bad debt. I have bad debt and I do have some good debt. However, it's like nice because I'm ahead. Now, some people are like, oh, I want to, do the van life because it's freeing, and it's a responsibility. There's nothing 100% freeing about the van life. What you got to do is you got to, if you want to try it, you got to jump in. That was this live feed had 5 things to expect from the van life that were guarantees in my situation, but might not be guarantees for you. It might be totally different because you're smarter than me, because I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. I'm living in a van. All right, you take it easy, Urbananski. I'll see you. Keep paying attention to the uploads. One of the favorite, most influential characters that I do is Aunt Krabby. You can check her out on her shorts feed. She's hilarious. Anyhow, you have a good night. Good night. We're going to get back to, I got to make sure to circle around here and bring back what I was chatting about, because it's like when I start talking to people in the comments, I'm like, and then I can lose my focus. So my experience is not guaranteed to be your experience. You know what I mean? You might be a lot smarter than me. Like I said, probably are. I'm living in a van. I'm 44. But at least things are starting to look up on the financial end. I just started looking into stocks and different things. Maybe I'll hit it big. I don't know. But anyhow, there's going to be so many unpredictable things. So if you are thinking about the van life, I mean, it's really special. It's freeing. However, it's not the same as like, oh, I get to do whatever I want, whenever I want, unless you have millions of dollars already that you're ready to just spend. Then you get to do that. And you don't have to do the van life to do that. So just be prepared. It's freeing, but at the same time, it's different. Because like I said, you see the Instagram and the TikTok feeds, and people like show what looks like a mansion. The money that they're going to lose by building this mansion in their vehicle, it's going to happen because gravity is unforgiving. And if you're constantly moving, and you got a bunch of weight in something that's constantly moving, even though there's a weight limit, and maybe those people check out the weight limits, but I've seen some of the builds and I've seen the construction, and I'm like, there's no way that like drywall isn't going to crack. Tile lines aren't going to crack. Bathrooms, the water's not going to leak. That stuff's not going to happen. And you've got to consider, I wouldn't wish this on anybody. If you get into a car accident, all that is gone, because you can't, most insurance companies do not insure the inside of a van build. Most insurance companies will not insure you if they think you're living in your vehicle, unless it's a special type of insurance. You have to go and get, RV insurance. And if you get RV insurance, you have to have a bathroom, a kitchen, a bedroom, and an oven. They have to see that. Otherwise, they will not insure you. And I know that because I had gotten RV insurance on the bus. And again, there's a boatload of stuff you have to do. You've got to investigate and look into this life if it's something that you want to try. I totally recommend it. Just know it's unpredictable. The freedom is different than what you think it is. It is freeing, but it's just not what you think. All right. Or maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong a billion times before, but I have been right once in a while. I don't screw something up, and I make the right choice. And again, if you want to do the van life, do your investigating, check out channels, check out my channel, check out the uploads if you need tips and tricks on how to do a build. If you've never been like a construction person, it's not hard. It doesn't take much. My van build, and I have cedar, I have, I'm getting ready to get my solar. I have all kinds of different things, carpet, blah, blah, blah. And it costs me about $400 total to do the build. And I've got, I've got that beautiful picture, that painting right there. I got that home thing. I got decorations. My shelving is behind the walls, so I didn't have to build a bunch of shelves, because that's another thing. It's going to fall. Everything's going to fall because you got gravity involved. So anyhow, thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for the subscriptions. Thanks for the likes. Continue to follow us. Stay tuned. More will be revealed. Have a great night. Goodbye.